The night was silver. Every leaf, every ripple of the lake, every breath of air shimmered beneath the light of the full moon. The forest held its breath, waiting. Lana stood on the edge of the clearing, her bare feet sinking into the damp moss. She could feel the heartbeat of the earth beneath her soles, steady and deep, pulsing in time with her own. Somewhere far in the distance, a wolf howled, long and low, and her skin prickled in answer. She had heard it since childhood, that strange echo inside her chest, a sound that didn't belong to her world, yet called her all the same. The elder said she was different. Her silver eyes, rare among the packs, were a sign of something unspoken, something feared. When she was a pup, others whispered that the moon itself had touched her cradle, that her spirit had been marked by an ancient prophecy. She never believed them, not really, until tonight. The air changed, thickened, humming like a chord plucked on a divine string. The moon above her swelled brighter, and for a moment, the light didn't just shine on her, it shone through her. She gasped as her vision blurred. The forest melted away. She was standing in another place, a vast, endless expanse of white mist. A veil of light rippled before her, alive with whispers and shapes that danced just out of sight. "Who's there?" Her voice trembled. "Show yourself." From within the mist, a voice soft as wind over glass replied, "Child of the moon, you are seen." Lana turned, searching the haze. "Who are you?" "You are the echo of two worlds," the voice said, "born to bridge what was broken." "I don't understand," she cried. "What am I supposed to do?" The light pulsed once, twice, then surged into her chest. A symbol flared at the base of her throat, burning with cold fire. The moon mark. She fell to her knees as power rushed through her veins, ancient, wild, uncontainable. She saw flashes, wolves warring beneath blood-red skies, a shadow swallowing the sun, a man's eyes, dark, familiar, aching with loss, and a woman of light standing between them. Then silence. When Lana opened her eyes again, she was back in the forest. The moon hung low, her body trembling. The mark still glowed faintly beneath her collarbone, pulsing in rhythm with the moonlight. She whispered into the night, "What am I becoming?" A single silver wolf emerged from the trees, its eyes glinting with knowing. It bowed its head, not in threat, but in reverence. Lana's heart pounded. Somewhere deep inside, something ancient awakened. The prophecy had begun. That night, sleep came for Lana like a tide, slow, unstoppable, and heavy with moonlight. She dreamed she was running. Her paws pounded against the forest floor, scattering sparks of silver where she touched the earth. The air was alive with howls, the scent of ash and blood thick in her lungs. Above, the moon was fractured, split into 3 uneven shards that bled light into the clouds. Each piece pulsed with its own rhythm, one of flame, one of shadow, one of water. She didn't know how she knew, but she did. The world was breaking. "Lana!" The voice came from the fire. She turned and saw him, a tall figure standing amid the burning trees, half man, half wolf, his eyes like storm clouds. Aiden. Though she didn't know his name yet, her soul recognized him instantly. "Who are you?" she called. "Why are you in my dream?" He stepped closer, the flames parting around him like a curtain. "This isn't a dream," he said, his voice low and resonant. "It's a call." "A call from where?" "From what's left." He looked past her, toward the distant horizon where the sky bled red. "The veil is tearing. The packs are losing themselves. And you." His gaze met hers, fierce and almost reverent. "You're the one who can stop it." "I don't even know what it is," she cried. "I'm just different." His tone softened. "I know." The world around them shuddered. The fire twisted upward, turning into black smoke that coiled like a serpent. From the darkness, a voice hissed, cold and ancient. "The moon's chosen cannot stand alone." Lana clutched her chest. The mark burned under her skin, pulsing in sync with the whisper. What does that mean? Aiden's expression hardened. It means the others are coming. Others? He opened his mouth to answer, but the world exploded in white light. Lana jerked awake, heart hammering, her room bathed in moonlight. The mark on her skin glowed again, brighter than before. Outside, the forest was silent. Too silent. And for the first time, she understood the voice's warning. Whatever she had seen wasn't just a dream. It was a summons. The wind tore across the ridge, carrying the scent of rain and pine, but Aiden barely noticed. His mind was a storm of its own. The pack had been restless for weeks. Wolves moved like shadows, ears twitching at noises no one else could hear. Territory disputes flared, old grudges resurfaced, and the elders whispered of a darkness that no claw or fang could hold at bay. Aiden knew better. Something deeper was stirring, something that didn't belong to the mortal realm. He padded silently through the forest, his senses sharp, every muscle coiled. Moonlight glinted off his fur, silver tracing the edges of his form. The world was beautiful, cruel, wild, alive, but he felt a pull towards a place he had never seen. And he knew why. It started with dreams. Not his own, not exactly. Images of a girl with silver eyes, her mark glowing faintly, haunted him. She ran through forests that seemed to shimmer with moonlight, calling him without words. And always, always, she stood at the edge of something vast, a light or a rift he could not name. Aiden had learned to trust instincts like these. The pack had taught him survival, but visions taught him purpose. Tonight, the pull was stronger. The wind shifted, carrying whispers he could almost understand, soft, haunting, familiar. She is the bridge. She is the key. He froze. Every hair on his neck rose. The forest around him seemed to lean in, listening. "Who's there?" he growled. "Show yourself." No one answered, only the whispering wind curling around him like fingers through fog. And then he saw it, the first real sign. A column of silver light pierced the forest canopy ahead. Moonlight, yes, but alive, twisting, swirling, almost breathing. And beneath it, a figure, a girl, silver-eyed, alone, and glowing faintly from the mark at her chest. Aiden's heart thumped in a way it never had before. He didn't know her name. He didn't know if she was mortal or spirit, but he knew. The world shifted beneath him, the wind screaming around his ears. He leapt forward instinctively, paws pounding the moss, trying to close the distance. But the light pulsed, and in an instant it vanished, gone like smoke. All that remained was the lingering echo, a pull in his chest, a whisper in his mind. She is coming, and you must be ready. Aiden stopped, breath heaving, ears flat, eyes scanning the silver-drenched forest. He had faced wolves, storms, even death itself. But this was different. Something old, vast, and patient was moving through the world, and somehow he had been chosen to meet it. He growled low in his throat, not in fear, but in determination. "No matter what," he whispered, "I'll find her, and when I do, I'll be ready." Above, the moon shone full and perfect, and for the first time in years, the wind carried not just sound, but promise. The forest was alive in moonlight, yet deathly still. Lana padded through the clearing, senses sharp. The mark on her chest pulsed faintly, a rhythm she could feel in her bones. She didn't understand it yet, only that the veil had stirred, and something ancient was calling her. "You are not alone," the wind whispered, carrying a voice that was both distant and intimate. She froze, ears twitching. The scent of another wolf, strong, commanding, yet familiar, drifted through the night air. Across the ridge, Aiden moved silently, shadows folding around him. His fur bristled as the same whisper brushed his mind, tugging at his instincts. He paused, staring into the silvered forest, every sense straining. Somewhere between the trees, they were close, so close, yet separated by miles of whispering wind and moonlit space. The ground trembled faintly beneath Lana's paws. She looked up. The moon hung larger than before, its light coiling into silver threads that reached toward her. The threads glimmered, forming shapes she couldn't yet name. "Follow the light," the voice said. Aiden's heart thumped as he felt it too. The pull of something not of this world. His instincts screamed that the girl in the silver moonlight was the one the wind had called him to, though he didn't know her name. The veil between them thinned. Shadows of forest and light intertwined, twisting in patterns that made the air hum. And then, for a heartbeat, the moonlight condensed a fleeting form shimmering between them. Elara. Her voice flowed like liquid silver, threading through their minds at once. "Paths converge tonight. Watch, listen, but do not touch. The bridge must awaken before it meets the dawn." Lana's ears flattened. "Who's there?" "I am the watch of the veil," the voice answered. "I am the guide that waits for the chosen. Do not fear, only learn." Aiden crouched low, muscles tensed, eyes searching. "Lana!" The moonlight pulsed, and suddenly their forms flickered for a moment, separated by distance, then close enough that the air itself tingled between them. Neither could cross, yet neither could look away. The forest seemed to lean in, the trees holding their breath. The veil hummed, ancient and patient, acknowledging them both. "Soon you will meet, but first you must know the pull," Elara whispered, her form twisting into a silver mist that danced around them. "The bridge awakens in understanding, not touch. Watch, learn, and wait for the call." The wind carried a shared heartbeat, their own marks pulsing in perfect rhythm with one another. The pull of destiny was unmistakable. They were two halves of the same whole, threads woven through centuries, bound to each other by prophecy and moonlight. And then the moonlight retracted. The veil thickened again. The forest returned to ordinary night. Lana shook, the mark on her chest still glowing faintly. Her voice was a whisper, trembling with wonder and fear. "He's real!" Aiden's jaw clenched, breath ragged. "She is. And I'll find her." Far above, Alara's silver mist lingered, watching. "Patience," she whispered. "The bridge will awaken, the dawn will come, and together the moonbound will rise." The two wolves stood beneath the same moon, separated by distance, but connected by the invisible thread of destiny. And in the silence between heartbeats, the world shifted, the first tremor of the prophecy's awakening. The clearing was quiet under the silver moon. Mist curled along the ground, hiding roots and shadows alike. Every leaf trembled in the soft night wind, carrying the scent of pine, rain, and something older, something alive. Lana's paws pressed into the soft moss, heart pounding. She could feel the pull again, stronger this time. Not just the veil, not just the prophecy, something real, something near. She rounded a gnarled tree and froze. A figure emerged from the mist, tall, powerful, eyes like storm clouds catching the moonlight. Time seemed to slow. Her chest tightened as instinct and recognition collided. She didn't know his name. She didn't know why her heart thumped like a drum of war. But she knew. Aiden's gaze locked on her immediately, nostrils flaring as he sniffed the air, every muscle taut. The moonlight glinted off his fur, silver streaking black, in rhythm with the pulse of his mark. For a heartbeat, they merely stared. Then instinct took over. Both lunged forward, not to attack, but to circle, to measure, to understand. The clearing became a dance of shadow and silver light, paws silent on moss, tails flicking, ears flattened. Finally, they stopped, faces inches apart. "You," Lana whispered, voice trembling. "You're real!" "I am," Aiden replied, his voice low, steady, carrying the weight of the forest itself. "And you." He tilted his head, eyes narrowing. "I've never met you, but I know you." The wind shifted. A soft glow rose along the edges of the clearing. Elara's presence manifested as a faint, silver mist swirling above them, watching, guiding, patient. "Let them see," she whispered, voice threading through their minds. "The bridge awakens when hearts recognize each other." Lana's tail twitched. I I felt you before. In dreams, in the wind, in the veil." Aiden's jaw tightened. "I felt you too. I didn't understand. I thought I was imagining it. But now, it's real." They circled again, slower this time, mirroring each other. The marks on their chests pulsed in perfect rhythm, silver lights weaving through the night air. "You're the one," Lana said softly. "The Moonbound." Aiden's ears twitched. "No, you are." For a moment, the forest held its breath. The mist of Elara shimmered brighter, and the ground beneath them hummed faintly. Then, slowly, they stepped closer. Their foreheads brushed. Paws and claws softened, tails lowered, breaths mingling. The moonlight seemed to crown them, bathing the clearing in pure silver. "This feels right," Lana whispered. "It does," Aiden agreed. "But something tells me it's only the beginning." Elara's silver mist swirled between them, hovering like a guardian. The first meeting is always the spark. The path ahead will test every heartbeat, but together the bridge will stand, and the prophecy will unfold. Lana lifted her gaze to the sky. "Then, we start now?" "Yes," Aiden said, voice steady, eyes locked on hers. "Together." The wind carried a low howl, a call that seemed older than the mountains themselves. And under the silver moon, two souls bound by destiny finally met. The clearing was quiet at first, the moon casting long silver shadows across the forest floor. Mist curled like fingers around tree trunks, softening the edges of the world. Elara's silver form hovered above them, glowing faintly. "Tonight," she said, her voice like wind through glass, "you begin, not as pup or wolf, but as the Luna. You will learn to trust each other, and in that trust, you will find your power." Aiden's eyes flicked to Lana. "I thought I knew how to fight," he said, claws flexing. "But this? This is different," Lana replied, her tail flicking nervously. The mark on her chest pulsed, a steady heartbeat under her skin. "It's not just strength, it's connection." Elara lowered herself, mist solidifying into a shimmering wolf the size of a mountain. "Then start with the bond. Close your eyes, feel the veil, and each other." Hesitant, they did. At first, there was only darkness, only the cold pulse of night. Then the threads appeared, faint silver lines, weaving between their marks, stretching out like moonlight caught in a spider's web. Each thread vibrated with energy, humming with life. "Reach for them," Elara instructed. "Do not fear what you feel, trust it." Lana exhaled, and a thread leapt from her chest to Aiden's, wrapping around his shoulder. He felt it, warmth and strength, and something older than memory. His pulse synced with hers. A tremor ran through the clearing. The forest seemed to lean closer, sensing the bond, honoring it. "Good," Elara said, circling them. "Now move together. Learn each other's rhythm. Your strength alone is not enough. Only united will the prophecy hold." The two began to move, at first awkwardly, paws stepping on each other, tails knocking against limbs. Then, slowly, instinct took over. Aiden mirrored Lana's movements. She adjusted to his. The silver threads glowed brighter, weaving around them like living armor. Aiden barked a laugh. "This is amazing!" Lana smiled, hair glowing in the moonlight. "I feel it too, stronger than anything I've ever known." Elara hovered closer. "Do not forget why you train. Shadows gather beyond your world. Packs will clash. Chaos seeks to undo the balance. This is not play. This is preparation." The forest shifted again, revealing visions in the mist. Wolves fighting under stormed skies, a shadow swallowing the moon, a girl glowing with silver light, their future reflected in shards of possibility. Lana gasped. That's us?" Aiden growled softly. It's what we have to face. Elara nodded. And you will face it together. Trust the bond, and you will not fail. The veil flows through you both, but only when you move, as one will the prophecy awaken fully. The silver threads tightened around them, pulsing in unison. For the first time they felt it, not just power, but purpose, not just connection, but destiny. Above, the moon shone full and bright. A wolf howled somewhere in the distance, not a challenge, but a recognition. Elara's voice whispered through the clearing, carried by wind and light. The bridge is forming, the moonbound stirs, and the world begins to remember. Lana and Aiden paused, looking at each other. Their eyes glimmered with newfound understanding. We're ready, Lana said softly. Together, Aiden agreed. And under the silver glow, the prophecy truly began. The valley had been quiet for weeks, but the peace was brittle like frost over a dark pond. Whispers traveled faster than wind. Another pack had heard the prophecy. Another pack had heard of the silver-eyed wolf, whose mark pulsed with the moon's power. They want her, Aiden said, his voice low as he walked beside Lana. The night air carried tension, thick and biting. They think they can control her, use her, bend the prophecy to their will. Lana's paws dug into the moss. Her mark burned hotter, thrumming in time with the moon above. I don't even understand it myself. Why me? You are the bridge, Elara said, silver mist swirling around them. The veil has chosen you. That power does not belong to any pack, but others will see only what they desire. Strength, dominance, immortality, and they will come for it. The wind shifted. A scent reached Lana's nose. Foreign, sharp, predatory. Eyes flicked to the tree line. Shadows moved. Not one, not two, but dozens of sleek black forms creeping silently toward the clearing. They're here, Aiden growled, claws flexing, teeth bared. And they won't leave without a fight. Lana's chest heaved. I don't want to fight. I just survive. Elara finished for her. The prophecy will not be fulfilled unless you endure. Prepare yourself. The rival pack emerged in a wave, eyes burning with hunger and greed, fangs glinting. Their leader, a massive black wolf with a scar across his face, stepped forward. The silver-eyed wolf belongs to us, he snarled. Your prophecy is nothing. Give her to us and your blood will be spared. Aiden growled, stepping in front of Lana. She belongs to herself, and we will not let you take her. The battle erupted. Shadows leapt between trees, claws slashing, and teeth snapping. Screams echoed through the forest. Lana ran, dodging attacks, feeling her power surge uncontrollably. The mark on her chest flared, threads of the veil wrapping around her like living chains. She could feel the pull, stronger than ever, a force demanding her. A rival lunged at her. She twisted, but the wolf's fangs sank into her side. Pain flared, white-hot, and she stumbled. Aiden tore through the attackers, fury in every swipe, but he was pulled back, grappling with foes on all sides. Elara's voice whispered through the chaos. You must leave the mortal realm. The prophecy demands it. Survive within the veil. Do not fear, only trust. Lana's breath rattled. Aiden, she whispered, tears blurring her vision. The world fractured around her. The rival pack pressed closer, claws tearing, teeth sinking. She fell, the mark burning brighter than pain, brighter than fear, brighter than the night itself. Then the veil opened. Silver light erupted from her chest, swallowing the clearing, the rival pack, and her own screams. Aiden lunged, but the light seared his vision, and she was gone. The battlefield fell silent. Only the wind remained, carrying faint whispers of silver mist. Elara appeared above the wreckage, radiant and infinite. She is safe, the seer said softly, but she is no longer yours to touch. The veil will heal her. When she returns, she will be the bridge the world needs. The forest was silent. Even the wind seemed to have lost its courage after she vanished into the shimmer of silver light. The place where she had stood only moments ago now glowed faintly, the grass bending as if remembering her presence. Aiden fell to his knees, claws digging into the dirt. "Lana!" He howled into the emptiness, his voice breaking apart like glass. "Come back!" The echo returned, soft and hollow. "Come back!" But the moon gave no answer. Elara stepped forward slowly, her amber eyes dim. "She didn't just vanish," she whispered. "That was a portal. Moonfire energy." Aiden turned sharply, eyes flashing gold. "You think I don't know that? I felt it, her fear, her power. Then nothing." "She might still be alive," Elara said, though her voice trembled. "The Moonbound never die so easily. If she crossed the veil, we could follow." "How?" he growled. "The veil opens only once a century and only for the chosen." For a moment, neither spoke. The forest breathed again, a low, strange hum that seemed to come from beneath the earth. The moonlight rippled through the trees, revealing faint markings on the stones around them, crescent sigils glowing faint blue. Aiden's gaze followed the light. "Those weren't here before." "They're responding to you," Elara said, "or to her bond with you." He reached out, and the symbols pulsed brighter. A sudden wind rose, swirling leaves and moondust around them. Then came the whisper, a voice that was not quite sound. "Follow the light of what was lost." Aiden froze. "Did you hear that?" Elara nodded. "It's her, or whatever's left of her voice." He stood, determination igniting in his chest. "Then we're going after her, even if it means tearing open the veil itself." Elara smiled faintly, baring her wolf fangs. "Then let's hope the moon is still on our side." Moonbound, Chapter 8. The silver veil, the world around Lana, had dissolved into light, a storm of silver threads pulling her through the air like a leaf caught in a river of stars. She couldn't scream. The sound was swallowed by silence. The cold burned, then softened, until she was weightless. When the light finally dimmed, she found herself standing in a place that looked both ancient and new. The ground shimmered like glass, and beneath it flowed streams of liquid moonlight. Above her, the sky wasn't black or blue. It was alive, filled with drifting fragments of memory, like dreams caught mid-breath. Lana clutched her pendant, the one Aiden had given her. It flickered weakly, as if trying to guide her. "Where am I?" she whispered. Her voice echoed, and for a moment, it sounded like a dozen versions of herself asking the same question. Then came another voice, calm, deep, and resonant, yet distant. "You have crossed the silver veil, child of the twin moons." She turned, heart pounding. A figure emerged from the mist, tall, cloaked in light, its eyes glowing the same shade as Aiden's when the moon called to him. Lana stepped back. "Who are you?" "I am the keeper of the veil," the being said. "Few are summoned here by the moon's will. Fewer still survive the crossing." "I didn't choose this," Lana said, her voice trembling. "I was pulled in." The keeper tilted its head. "The veil does not take by force. It answers what is already written." She frowned. "Written by who?" "The moon remembers everything," it replied, "even what you have forgotten." As it spoke, the sky rippled, and images began to form above her. Her village, the night of the blood eclipse, her first transformation. And then Aiden, standing beneath the falling starlight, calling her name. Tears welled in her eyes. "He's looking for me." "He walks the path between realms," said the keeper, "but the way is sealed to mortals. If you wish to return, you must awaken the lunar heart, the ancient pulse that connects the two worlds." Lana hesitated. "How?" The keeper extended a hand, revealing a silver flame hovering above its palm. "Find the 3 shards of the heart. One lies in shadow, one in silence, one in sorrow. Only when all are whole can the gate open again." Lana reached out, and the flame entered her chest, sending warmth through her veins. For the first time since she vanished, she felt strong again, her wound healed, alive, but not the same. She looked up at the glowing horizon. "Then I'll find them," she said. "Whatever it takes." The keeper nodded slowly. "Then your moonbound journey begins anew." The mist swirled once more, and as Lana stepped forward, the stars bent around her path, whispering her name. The moon had always spoken to Elara, not in words, but in whispers that touched her thoughts like falling snow. From the moment she was born under a blood eclipse, the elders had called her moon-touched, a rare child whose soul straddled both light and shadow. As a pup, she would wander into the woods and stare at the stars for hours, claiming she could see shapes moving in them, silver wolves, ancient faces, gates of mist. Most dismissed it as imagination. But when she turned 13, the visions began. It started with dreams of the Veil Realm, a world shimmering between breaths, where the spirits of fallen wolves roamed beneath a sky that never dimmed. One night, the dream turned real. She woke to find her feet glowing, her eyes reflecting twin moons. The forest around her was silent, but she felt watched, not by danger, but by destiny. That was the night the moon mark appeared on her palm, a crescent rune that pulsed whenever the worlds drew near each other. Years later, when Aiden joined her pack, wild, scarred, and burning with untamed energy, Elara saw something familiar in him. He was the opposite of her calm. His strength came from emotion, hers from stillness. Yet together, they found balance. He used to tease her for her endless meditation. "Do you ever stop listening to the moon?" He'd laugh. "Only when it stops listening back," she'd reply. They weren't bonded by romance, but by purpose, a silent trust that ran deeper than words. Aiden was the protector, Elara the interpreter. Where his claws met danger, her eyes met truth. When Lana joined the pack, Elara felt a shift in the moon's hum. The girl was pure and unsure, yet she carried something ancient in her aura, a warmth that glowed like hidden starlight. Elara had known immediately. The moon had chosen her, too. She had watched silently as the bond between Aiden and Lana grew, from cautious allies to inseparable souls. When they stood together under the harvest moon, Elara felt no jealousy, only awe. Their connection wasn't simple love. It was cosmic balance, one heart anchored to the earth, the other tethered to the heavens. The night Lana disappeared, Elara was the first to feel it. The air had gone cold, her moon mark burning like fire. She knew before Aiden did that something had torn through the fabric of their realm. Now, days later, she sat before the sacred pool, its waters still as glass, and closed her eyes. The reflection above showed not her face, but the face of two moons. "Show me where she walks," Elara whispered. The water rippled, forming images, silver fields, fractured stars, a lone figure wrapped in light. "Lana!" Elara's breath caught. "She's alive." A rustle behind her, Aiden approached, his eyes hollow but burning. "You found her?" "I found her path," Elara said softly. "She's beyond the silver veil." He knelt beside her, fists clenched. "Then we're going after her." Elara looked at him. This wolf who would defy death itself for love and felt a pang of something fierce and tender. "The way isn't meant for the living, Aiden. It takes blood, spirit, and sacrifice." "I don't care what it takes," he said. "If she's out there, I'll find her." She touched his shoulder gently. "Then you'll need me. I'm the only one who's walked the edge of the veil and returned." He looked up sharply. "You've been there?" She nodded. "Once, as a child. I saw its gates in a dream that wasn't a dream. I remember the silence, the silver wind, and the voice that told me, 'You will bridge what love divides.' I didn't understand it until now." The moonlight deepened around them, glinting on her rune-marked hand. "You think that's what you're meant to do?" he asked. She smiled faintly. "Not think, I know. The veil connects through the seer's bond. My mark can open the path, but only your bond with Lana can guide the way." Aiden exhaled slowly, the rage and grief in his chest twisting into fragile hope. Then we'll do it together. Elara turned back to the water, her voice almost a prayer. Lana of the light, Aiden of the earth, I am the bridge between. The pool shone brighter, and for a heartbeat, she heard Lana's voice, faint but clear. I can hear you. Elara's eyes widened. She's reaching through! The ground trembled as the moon's reflection split the pool in two, one half dark, one half shining. Aiden stood, gaze fixed on the rift. Then let's not waste another breath. Elara rose beside him, the light of both moons reflected in her eyes. So it begins, the crossing of the Moonbound. In that moment, the seer, the warrior, and the vanished heart of their world became one story, a bond that neither distance nor death could break. And as the wind stirred the forest, the veil shimmered faintly, waiting. Night fell heavy over the forest. The air shimmered faintly, as if reality itself trembled under the weight of what Aiden and Elara were about to do. They stood at the edge of the sacred pool, the same one that had whispered Lana's faint voice days before. Around them, Elara had drawn runes in a wide circle, glowing marks of ancient moonfire, each pulsing to the rhythm of her heartbeat. Aiden watched her work in silence, muscles tense beneath his cloak of wolfskin. His eyes were darker now, haunted by sleepless nights and restless dreams of Lana calling his name. You're sure this will work? He asked finally, his voice low and rough. Elara didn't look up. No? He frowned. That's not comforting. She smiled faintly, continuing to etch the final rune. Comfort isn't part of the ritual, Aiden. Only truth and sacrifice. He crossed his arms, gaze fixed on the pool. You keep saying that word, sacrifice. Who's supposed to be offering what? Elara stopped, her hand hovering over the last rune. That depends on how deep you're willing to go. Aiden turned toward her. I'd give anything to bring her back. She met his eyes, calm, knowing, and terribly sad. That's exactly what the veil will ask of you. The moon reached its zenith, splitting into twin reflections on the water. The runes flared to life, surrounding them in a halo of silver light. The forest grew utterly still, even the wind dared not breathe. Elara knelt by the pool and drew her dagger, a blade carved from moonstone. She sliced her palm without hesitation, letting her blood drip into the water. The surface shimmered, spreading crimson ripples that turned silver as they reached the center. The seer's blood opens the path, she whispered. Aiden stepped closer. And what about mine? She looked up at him. Yours binds it. The bond you share with Lana is the key. It's the only thing that can guide us to her. He didn't hesitate. He dragged his claw across his palm, letting his blood fall beside hers. The two streams merged, glowing brighter until the entire pool began to tremble. A low hum rose from the earth, deep, ancient, almost alive. The runes around them pulsed in rhythm, faster and faster, until the air itself split with a crack of thunder. Aiden braced himself, but Elara didn't flinch. Her eyes had turned white, glowing with moonlight. Hold your ground! She shouted over the roar. I'm not going anywhere! He yelled back, though the force nearly knocked him off his feet. The water rose twisting upward like a column of light, and within it, a shape began to form. A gate. Its frame was woven from liquid silver, its surface reflecting not the forest, but another world, Lana's world. For a heartbeat, Aiden saw her walking through a field of mist, her hand outstretched toward something unseen. His heart nearly stopped. Lana! He shouted. Elara grabbed his arm. Don't step through yet, the gate's unstable. But the pull was too strong. The moment his voice reached through, the reflection rippled violently. The gate began to crack, its light flickering. Elara bit her lip, forcing more power into the runes, her voice shaking as she chanted in the old tongue. By moon unbroken, by heart divided, bridge the lost through silver light. The runes flared again, brighter than ever. The gate stabilized, for a moment. Then came the whisper. One cannot cross without leaving something behind. Aiden froze. What does that mean? Elara's voice was soft, almost a whisper. The veil demands balance. To enter, something of equal worth must stay behind. He stared at her. If that's what it takes, I'll give it. She shook her head fiercely. You don't understand. If you give too much, you may never come back. The gate's pull grew stronger, threads of light wrapping around them both. Elara took his hand, pressing her blood-stained palm to his. Then we do it together. He looked at her, his oldest ally, the one who had guided him through every shadow. You don't have to. Yes, I do, she said, because if love is what binds the veil, then it's not just yours and hers that matters. It's the love that holds all three of us together, in loyalty, in faith, in fate. The light consumed them both. When the storm faded, the forest was empty. Only the faint glow of the runes remained, flickering softly like dying stars. Above the silent pool, the moon shimmered and then split, sending a sliver of light shooting across the sky, vanishing into the unknown. Somewhere, in the Veil realm, Lana turned suddenly, feeling warmth brush her cheek, the warmth of a familiar presence. She looked up at the glowing horizon and whispered, Aiden? Far away, his voice echoed faintly through the mist. I'm coming. Aiden's first breath was heavy, metallic, as if he were breathing in light instead of air. He opened his eyes slowly. Everything shimmered. The ground beneath him looked like glass reflecting the stars, and above him hung two moons, one whole and pale, the other cracked and bleeding silver into the sky. Elara, he whispered hoarsely. A soft groan answered him. She was lying a few feet away, her white cloak spread like spilled moonlight. Her eyes flickered open, and for a moment, they glowed faintly, not gold, like his, but pure, argent white. You made it, she breathed. He crawled to her side, steadying her as she sat up. We made it, he said. They both looked around. The world was silent, vast, and impossibly beautiful, but wrong in the way dreams are wrong. The trees shimmered with translucent bark. Rivers ran upward into the air. Every sound they made seemed to echo twice, once in the ear, once in the soul. This is the Veil realm, Elara whispered, but it's incomplete. What do you mean? She pointed toward the horizon. The moons are split. That shouldn't be possible. The balance here is breaking, and that means so is the bond between worlds. Aiden clenched his fists. Then we fix it. We find Lana, and we go home. Elara gave a soft, pained laugh. If it were that simple. She stood slowly, brushing frost from her cloak. Her moon mark was glowing brighter than ever, its light pulsing in rhythm with the cracked moon above. Do you feel that? She asked. Aiden frowned. What? The veil's heartbeat, she said. Every time it falters, a piece of this realm fades. If it dies completely, no one trapped here, not Lana, not us, will ever return. He looked around, realizing some of the stars were dimming. Then we'd better move fast. They walked for what felt like hours. The landscape shifted constantly, valleys melting into rivers, mountains folding into mist. The veil didn't obey time or distance. Sometimes they'd see a glimpse of something that didn't belong, a fragment of the mortal world, like a child's laughter or a distant bell, passing like an echo of memory. At one point, Aiden stopped suddenly. Did you hear that? Elara tilted her head. What? It's her, he said. I swear I heard Lana's voice. The air shimmered, and faintly, like a song carried through a dream, came a whisper. Aiden. He turned toward it, heart racing. Lana, I'm here! But when he ran forward, the ground broke apart beneath his feet. Shadows poured upward, twisting into shapes that looked human but hollow. Elara raised her hands, chanting quickly. They're memory shades. Don't let them touch you. Aiden slashed through one with his claws, but it dissolved and reformed instantly. They're endless! They feed on emotion, Elara shouted. Your grief fuels them. Stop thinking of her. He glared at her, How am I supposed to do that? By remembering who you are. Her voice cut through the chaos. He closed his eyes, forcing himself to breathe. The ache in his chest dulled, replaced by a sharp, focused calm. When he opened his eyes again, his claws gleamed with moonfire, white and pure. He struck once, and the shade burned away completely. The others followed, dissolving into mist. Elara lowered her hands, panting. "You're learning," she said with a faint smile. Aiden looked at her, chest heaving. "You're not bad yourself." For a moment, they just stood there, two souls suspended between worlds, surrounded by silence. Then Alara's expression changed, her eyes unfocused, glowing faintly again. "She's close," she whispered. "I can feel her, her essence, flickering through the veil." Aiden stepped closer. "Where?" She pointed toward a valley of swirling light in the distance. "There! But the path won't hold long. If we want to reach her, we'll need to cross before the moons align again. How long until that happens?" Elara glanced up. The cracked moon was drifting closer to the full one, trails of silver bleeding between them. "Maybe an hour, maybe a heartbeat. Time doesn't behave here." Aiden nodded grimly. "Then we move." They started toward the valley, but as they walked, the ground began to hum again, low and sorrowful. Elara stopped suddenly, clutching her chest. "What's wrong?" he asked. "The gate's price," she gasped. "It's starting to collect." Her skin glowed faintly with runes spreading across her arms, the same ones she had drawn in blood back in the mortal world. They pulsed painfully with each breath. "Elara!" She looked up at him, face pale but resolute. "Don't stop. Whatever happens, don't stop until you find her. I'm not leaving you." Her smile was soft, brave. "You may not have a choice." Before he could respond, the ground beneath her split, swallowing her light whole. And the last thing Aiden heard was her whisper, "Find her. Finish what we began." When the dust settled, Aiden was alone again, standing at the edge of the valley, where rivers of silver light flowed into the sky. Somewhere beyond that horizon, Lana's soul was calling. He clenched his fists, his eyes blazing gold. "I'll find you, both of you. I swear it." Above him, the cracked moon bled a single drop of silver, falling like a tear into the waiting world. Chapter 13. The Heart of the Moonbound. The first thing Lana felt was silence. Not emptiness, but a living, pulsing quiet that thrummed through her veins, like the echo of a heartbeat not her own. The air shimmered silver around her, threads of moonlight drifting through the mist like veins of energy. She wasn't sure how long she had been walking through this pale realm. Time here flowed like water. She could feel the moments folding over one another. Sometimes she caught glimpses of herself in the mist, her past self kneeling by Aiden's fallen form, her future self standing in a place of blinding light. The veil was showing her what could be, and what must be chosen. Lana stopped before a pool of liquid light. The reflection staring back was not the same girl who had vanished from the mortal woods. Her hair now shimmered with faint lunar hues, silver woven through black. A sigil crescent-shaped, ancient and shifting, glowed faintly across her collarbone. When she reached to touch it, the air vibrated with a voice. "The mark awakens! The moonbound stirs again!" She spun around. From the mist emerged a tall, graceful figure draped in light. Not flesh, but formed of energy, eyes bright as twin stars. It was neither man nor woman, but something older, something vast. "Who are you?" she whispered. "I am the first," it said, "the one who forged the bond between moon and flesh. You, child of the eclipse, carry my legacy. You are the bridge." Lana's heart thundered. Bridge? Between what? Between realms, between the seen and unseen, between the wild heart of the living and the still song of the lost. The figure extended a hand. From its palm bloomed a thread of light that reached into Lana's mark. The sigil flared, and memories surged. Fragments of 1,000 lives, each bound by the same light. Women and men standing beneath moons of different worlds, all bearing the same mark, all facing the same darkness. She gasped, dropping to her knees as visions burned behind her eyes. A pack of wolves howling under a blood moon. A sea that glowed like molten glass. A world consumed by shadows where one light refused to die. When the visions faded, she knew the truth. The Moonbound were not a myth. They were guardians, keepers of the Veil's balance, and she, reborn under the fractured moon, was their last vessel. "Why me?" she breathed. "I didn't choose this." "The moon chooses not by worth, but by willingness," the being said. "You carry the courage to face what others run from. The Veil responds to that." Lana's fingers brushed her glowing mark again. "So, what is my power?" The figure smiled, or the essence of a smile shimmered through its light. "You carry the voice of the moon. Through it, you can command the Veil, shape the pathways between life and death, dream and waking. But power demands balance. You must learn to listen before you speak." The pool at her feet rippled, revealing two distant figures, Aiden and Elara, lost and weary, moving through shadows. A surge of warmth filled her chest. "They're coming for me!" "Yes," said the voice, "but the path is not theirs to walk. Only you can open the way." The figure stepped closer, its glow dimming like a fading star. "Remember, Lana Moonbound, you are not lost, you are becoming. The darkness does not swallow you, it bows to you." As the spirit dissolved into light, the sigil on her skin pulsed once, twice, then flared outward, forming a ring of silver energy around her. The ground shifted, the mist parted. For the first time, Lana felt the veil respond to her, and as her eyes glowed silver white, she whispered, "Then I'll find them, and I'll bring the light back myself." The air trembled, and the world began to move. The veil pulsed beneath Aiden's feet. Alone, he walked through a landscape of silver mist and shifting stars, each step sending ripples across the glowing ground. The gate Elara had opened had stabilized, barely, and her sacrifice weighed heavily on him. He could still feel her essence in the air, faint and comforting, like a heartbeat just beyond reach. "Find her! Finish what we began!" her voice whispered in the corners of his mind. Aiden clenched his fists. "I will, Elara," he muttered, voice rough. "I swear it." The light around him flared suddenly, bright as day, and his chest throbbed, not pain, but recognition. "Lana!" Her energy surged across the veil, strong and clear. The second shard had awakened, and with it, her power. He stumbled forward instinctively, eyes scanning the glowing horizon. "Lana!" he breathed. He tried to call her, but the words were swallowed by the veil's shifting winds. Instead, he closed his eyes and focused, letting the memory of her guide him. Every laugh, every defiant glance, every whispered promise he had shared with her. They pulsed in his veins like silver fire. The mist rippled, forming shapes. Raldis. Rivers, shadows of places they had once known, and there, faintly, he glimpsed her. A figure bathed in white light, hands raised toward the floating shards of moonlight. He rushed forward, but the veil twisted around him. Ground vanished and reformed beneath his feet. Illusions of fallen wolves and shattered forests tested his resolve. "Remember Elara," he whispered. Her guiding voice surged inside him. "Anchor yourself. Let the bond with her lead you." Aiden took a deep breath and opened his senses. He didn't run toward the light. He felt it, like a current pulling him. The mist parted slightly, revealing threads of silver energy, paths that connected him to Lana. Each step forward was a struggle. The veil tested him, warping memories into traps. He saw himself failing her, losing her to shadows. His heart ached, but he remembered her courage, her defiance, her light. Finally, he reached a clearing. The mist had thinned, and there, glowing above a crystalline altar, was a faint shimmer. The second shard, silence, pulsing with lunar energy. Lana's mark glowed in sync. He reached out instinctively, hand trembling. The shard's energy touched his skin, and for a heartbeat, he saw her fully. Eyes glowing silver white, hair streaming like moonlight, her power blooming around her. Aiden! Her voice wasn't heard, but felt, a pulse against his chest. Tears burned his eyes. I'll find you, he whispered, voice breaking. I'll reach you, Lana, I swear it! The veil shivered, responding to both of their wills. Threads of light braided between them, a fragile bridge spanning the distance. Aiden could feel Elara too, guiding, anchoring, sacrificing, her presence a quiet pulse in the back of his mind. He closed his eyes again, letting the bond between them all, him, Lana, Elara, forge the path forward. Hold on, Lana, he murmured. I'm coming. And somewhere deep in the shimmering horizon, the second shard pulsed brighter, recognizing the heart that reached for it. The journey was far from over, but for the first time, Aiden could feel hope. The veil was collapsing. The portal's edges screamed with light, threads of silver twisting and unraveling like torn silk. Aiden was halfway through when the rift began to tear itself apart. Elara didn't hesitate. She knew what she had to do. The moment the runes started flickering, she understood the cost. Go, Aiden, she shouted above the thunder of energy. Don't look back! He tried to grab her, but the surge threw him forward into the light, and in that instant, she felt the pull, the veil's hunger, its need for balance. It demanded one soul to anchor the crossing, so she gave it hers. At first, there was pain, the kind that doesn't wound the body but splits the soul, light unraveling from flesh, memory dissolving into energy. Her hands faded first, then her heartbeat, then her breath. And yet, she wasn't gone. She floated in a boundless expanse of silver mist, weightless and silent. All around her, voices whispered, ancient, distant, familiar. The echoes of every moonbound before her. Do not fear the falling, they murmured. You are becoming what you were born to be. Elara opened her eyes, or thought she did, and saw the veil not as mist, but as an ocean of light. Rivers of memory flowed through it, carrying fragments of time. She saw wolves beneath shattered moons, battles fought between light and shadow, and Lana, the girl chosen by the moon itself. Her mark still glowed faintly on her wrist, but it no longer belonged to skin. It pulsed with the rhythm of the veil. What am I? She whispered. The light answered. You are Lunara, the watcher between worlds. You will guide those who still walk the path. She felt herself expand, her essence stretching across the veil, merging with its flow. Every corner of this place was alive with emotion and memory. And in the midst of it, a single presence burned like a star. Aiden. She saw him stumbling through the mist, lost but determined. His heart a beacon of defiance. He's still fighting, she thought. Of course he is. Elara reached toward him instinctively, and to her amazement, the veil responded. A soft wind stirred around him. Her touch, carried through the realm. You're not alone, she whispered through the current. Follow the light. For a heartbeat, he looked up, as though he had heard her, and that was enough. Then another image shimmered before her. Lana, her mark blazing, her soul awakening in full power. Elara felt awe and love intertwine within her essence. You are the bridge, she whispered to the distant girl, the balance I could never hold. The veil thrummed, and her voice carried outward, stretching into every pulse of light. From now on, she would not walk beside them, but within their journey. When they faltered, her whisper would find them. When they despaired, her calm would steady their hearts. This was her fate, not death, but devotion without end. The last of her human form dissolved into pure light. Where she had stood, the veil bloomed brighter, a single star flaring against the endless mist. Guide them well, the ancient voices sang, for in every moon's shadow a seer must remain. And as her consciousness merged fully with the realm, Elara's final thought rippled through eternity. Aiden, Lana, I am still with you. Always. Chapter 13. The Light That Listens. The veil was quiet. Too quiet. The silence here was not empty, it was listening. Every breath Lana took seemed to ripple through the air like sound waves against a drum of stars. She stood at the edge of a crescent-shaped valley, its ground shimmering like powdered moonstone. The shard of silence still hovered in her palm, pulsing faintly. The more she touched it, the more she felt its strange heartbeat echoing through her, deep, steady, and patient. And beneath that pulse, a whisper. "Lana!" She froze. That voice, soft, calm, and achingly familiar, wasn't the moon's, nor her own thoughts. It came from somewhere deeper. "Who's there?" she whispered into the stillness. No answer, only a flicker in the light around her, like the veil itself was breathing. Then, faintly, the scent of herbs and rain drifted by. Elara's scent. Lana's heart clenched. "Elara!" The wind stirred. Silver mist swirled into faint outlines, a silhouette of grace and stillness. No body, no face, only presence. "You've done well," came the whisper, echoing like 1,000 stars speaking in one voice. "The veil listens to you now." Tears stung Lana's eyes. "I thought you were gone." "Not gone," the voice murmured. "Changed. The veil needed balance, and I became part of it. I see through its light now, and through you." Lana reached out, fingers trembling, and the mist pulsed beneath her touch. Warm, real, alive. "Elara, I can feel you." "Good," the whisper said gently. "Then listen." The ground around Lana began to glow. Lines of lunar symbols unfurled across the valley, ancient runes forming a vast circle beneath her feet. The shard in her hand responded, rising into the air. "Each shard you claim is not a weapon, Lana," Elara's voice continued. "It's a truth. The first taught you courage through pain. The second teaches peace through silence. The third, eclipse, will teach you balance. Only when light and shadow merge can the veil be whole again." Lana's pulse raced. "And Aiden, can he cross?" "He is walking toward you even now. The bond between you burns bright. I see it from here. But be warned, when he finds you, the veil will demand a choice." The words struck deep. A choice. Between love and duty. Between saving him and saving everything. The shard flared, and the valley trembled. Images flooded Lana's mind. A future drenched in moonlight. The veil collapsing, shadows swallowing worlds. And in the middle of it all, Aiden reaching for her hand. "I can't lose him again." "Then you must learn to be both light and shadow," Elara whispered. "The Moonbound does not choose one. She becomes the bridge between them." The mist swirled tighter, wrapping around Lana like an embrace. "You are not alone, child of the moon. I am here when the silence grows heavy. Let the veil guide you. And remember, even light needs the dark to shine." The presence faded, dissolving into the air. But something remained, a warmth in Lana's chest, steady and sure. She looked up. The veil's sky had changed. The twin moons hung closer now, one silver, one dark, their light intertwining in slow dance. The next shard was calling. Lana pressed her hand to her glowing mark and whispered, "Then I'll find the eclipse." The veil shimmered in response, opening a new path of spiraling light ahead. And though Elara's voice was gone, Lana felt her everywhere, in every breath, every ripple, every beat of the moon's heart. Chapter 14. The Path of Eclipse. The veil no longer whispered. It sang, low and rhythmic, a hum that pulsed beneath Lana's feet as she walked. The path ahead was carved from twilight itself, glowing faintly as though lit by hidden embers. Every step seemed to pull her deeper into a realm where time forgot its name. She could feel the call of the next shard, eclipse, thrumming in her chest like a second heartbeat. The air grew colder, thicker, filled with a faint scent of burning silver. The silence shard hovered beside her now, following like a quiet guardian. Since her encounter with Elara's spirit, it no longer resisted her touch. It responded. It knew her. "Eclipse," she whispered. "Show me what you are." The mist ahead swirled, and from it emerged a figure, her own reflection. Same face, same eyes. But her reflection's aura shimmered in shades of onyx and violet instead of silver. "You already know," it said. The voice was hers, but deeper, threaded with echoes of pain and pride. "You just don't want to face it." Lana froze. "Who are you?" "The part of you you've always buried." Her reflection smiled, not cruelly, but knowingly. "You wear the mark of the Moonbound, but you still fight the dark as if it's your enemy. Don't you understand? Eclipse isn't about destroying the shadow, it's about becoming one with it." Lana stepped back, heart pounding. "No, that's what destroyed my village. That's what corrupted the wolves who hunted me." The reflection's eyes glowed brighter. "They weren't destroyed by darkness. They were consumed by fear. You're walking the same edge, Lana. The moon chose you not because you are pure, but because you are whole, and wholeness needs both night and day." A gust of wind tore through the veil, scattering the glowing dust. Around them, the landscape shifted, the serene valley transforming into a swirling vortex of silver and black. The reflection extended a hand. "Take it. Accept me. Only then will eclipse reveal itself." Lana's breath trembled. She could feel Elara's voice echoing faintly within her. "The Moonbound does not choose one. She becomes the bridge between them." Her fingers shook as she reached out. The moment their hands met, pain seared through her. A flash of light, then darkness, then both at once. Memories poured into her. The night her parents were taken, the screams, the guilt she carried, the hatred she tried to bury. But alongside them came the warmth of Aiden's arms, Elara's calm voice, the feeling of belonging she thought she'd never earn. The two forces clashed inside her, then fused. The light exploded outwards, and when it faded, her reflection was gone. In its place hovered the eclipse shard, a perfect sphere of silver streaked with black veins, rotating slowly. It pulsed once, twice, then merged into her mark. Lana gasped. Her eyes glowed now, not silver, but lunar gray, shifting between light and dark. Her aura radiated power unlike anything she had felt before. The veil responded instantly. The ground steadied, the hum deepened, and the twin moons aligned perfectly above her, a full eclipse forming in the sky. "So this is what I am," she whispered. "Not light, not dark, balance." For the first time, the veil bowed to her. The air shimmered, and distant whispers of Elara's voice rippled through the wind. "You understand now, the bridge is ready." Lana turned toward the horizon, and there, far away, through the shimmering distortion of the realm, she saw a flicker of movement. Aiden. He was close. Her heart ached with both joy and dread. Because if Elara was right, then reunion would not bring peace, but choice. Still, Lana lifted her chin, the new light of eclipse burning in her eyes. "Then let the veil decide," she murmured. "I am ready." The veil was not kind to the living. Aiden learned that with every step. The first days after Elara vanished were a blur of motion and madness. The world here twisted itself like breath made visible. Paths that looped back into themselves, rivers that flowed upward into empty skies. The air shimmered, thick with unseen eyes. But worse than the shifting terrain was the silence. He had known battlefields quieter than this, but this silence listened back. It weighed on him, pressed on his lungs, made the rhythm of his own heart sound too loud. He almost preferred the screams. For a time he thought Elara's final whisper, "Go, Aiden," had been his imagination. But then came the dreams. The first one was of Lana, standing in moonlight, her mark blazing bright, calling his name across an endless field of glass. He ran toward her, but the ground cracked under his feet, and she disappeared again. He woke with his hands bleeding, claw marks he didn't remember making. He began to travel by instinct, following the faint pull in his chest, the same pull that had bound him to her since the night the mark appeared on both their skins. At first, it was faint, then stronger. Then, something else began to answer. One night, as he rested near a glowing lake that shimmered like mercury, The water rippled and reflected two moons instead of one. The air grew dense, and he felt her presence, Elara's. "You shouldn't linger here," he muttered to the reflection. "If you're gone, stay gone." But the lake replied in a whisper carried by the wind. "And yet, you still listen." Aiden's jaw tightened. "You think I want this? You think I wanted you to die for me?" "I didn't die for you," the voice said softly. "I died for the path, for her." He stared at the water, at his reflection fractured between silver and shadow. "She's alive, then?" "Alive, but not untouched. The Moonbound must cross every edge before she can return. Your role is not to save her, Aiden. It's to survive long enough to stand beside her when she chooses." He clenched his fists. "If she's in danger, I won't just stand beside her. I'll fight for her." The reflection shimmered. "Then fight the right enemy." The air around him shifted, and shapes began to emerge from the mist, specters of memory. The wolves who had fallen under his command. His father's cold stare. Lana's face when she realized what he had done to protect her. The veil had found its prey. They attacked not with claws, but with truths. Every doubt, every regret made flesh. Aiden fought until his body trembled, his energy bleeding into the ground. But still they came, accusing, whispering, breaking him open. Finally, he dropped to his knees. "I'm not afraid of you!" he roared, and his voice tore through the realm like thunder. The specters froze. The mist recoiled. The veil listened. And for the first time, it answered. A silver wolf, massive, luminous, eyes like eclipsed moons, emerged from the darkness. It bowed its head. Aiden stared. "What are you?" "The reflection of what you could be," it said. "You carry her mark, yet you deny your nature. The veil does not hate you, wolf. It tests you. Pass this trial, and you may walk beside the Moonbound again as the alpha she deserves." The wolf lunged. Aiden met it head-on. The fight was not long, but it was brutal. The creature moved with his own strength, mirrored his every strike. When he finally drove his blade through its chest, light burst out instead of blood and flowed straight into his mark. Pain followed, sharp and pure, then power, steady, alive. When the light faded, his eyes glowed faintly silver. He rose, panting, and the reflection in the lake was no longer fractured. The two moons above him had aligned. Lana's pull was stronger now, close. He looked toward the horizon, where silver met shadow, and whispered, "I'm coming, Lana." The wind carried back a whisper, Elara's voice, soft as ever. "Then be ready, Aiden. When you meet, the veil will make its choice." And for the first time since her disappearance, Aiden smiled, not because the path was easier, but because he could finally see where it led. The veil was trembling, not from chaos, but from becoming. Every shard Lana had claimed, courage, silence, and eclipse, pulsed within her mark like living hearts. The light of the twin moons converged above her, silver and black intertwining until the sky itself rippled like water. The air smelled of rain and moonlight. Then, from the horizon, the veil began to mend. Where once rifts yawned open and winds screamed in discord, now threads of silver wove through the sky, knitting wounds together. Rivers reversed their impossible flows, forests lifted their faces to the moons, and the whole realm exhaled in relief. Lana knelt, breath caught in awe. "It's healing!" And then she felt her. Elara. Her voice came not as a whisper this time, but as a chorus, soft and many-toned, carried through every particle of the veil. "It is time, Moonbound. You carry the light of balance. Now let the veil know your name." The ground beneath Lana glowed brighter, and from the light, a shape began to emerge. Elara, but transformed. Her body was woven of moonbeams and shadows, her eyes no longer mortal. She was the veil made flesh, serene, infinite. Lana rose, tears brimming. "Elara, you're part of it now." "And it is part of me," Elara said, her voice a harmony of worlds. "But this healing cannot complete without you. The veil chose me to guard its threshold. It chose you to cross it. Lana stepped closer. The mark on her hand blazed, the shards vibrating within. Cross into what? Elara's gaze softened. Into unity. The veil's light surged. Threads of silver coiled around Lana, wrapping her in warmth. The pain that had haunted her, the fractures, the doubts, began to dissolve. She felt her spirit stretching, her body humming with the rhythm of the moons. And deep in the pulse of that light, she saw the prophecy, words written in lunar fire. When the child of dusk meets the keeper of dawn, and shadow weds the light reborn, the veil shall breathe again, and peace shall bind the wolves to the moon once more. Elara extended her hand. The world above is dying, Lana. The packs fight for power, the moonlight fades, and the balance between realms decays. But together, we can mend it. You as the bridge, I as the gate. Lana hesitated, then clasped her hand. Their palms met, light to light, and the veil exploded in radiance. Every wound in the realm healed. The broken rivers turned to silver streams. The twin moons merged into one, a perfect eclipse radiating peace instead of darkness. The light poured down into the mortal world, sweeping over forests, cities, mountains, touching every wolf that bore a mark, every heart that had forgotten the moon. And far away, on the edge of that world, Aiden felt it. His knees buckled under the weight of the magic, tears streaking his face as he looked up to see the eclipse blazing overhead. The packs, once divided, once wild, lifted their heads and howled in unison for the first time in generations. The howl wasn't one of conquest. It was reverence, dignity, return. Back within the veil, Elara's form began to fade, merging once more with the healed horizon. "You've done what no seer or wolf before you could," she said, voice shimmering. "You've made the veil remember its purpose, not as a wall, but as a promise." Lana's tears glowed silver as she whispered, "And what happens now?" "Now," Elara smiled, "you live, you lead, you teach them what balance means." As the light embraced her fully, Lana felt her power settle, no longer a storm, but a steady flame. She was no longer just the Moonbound. She was the lunar bridge, the living embodiment of peace between realms. The moons pulsed once more, a heartbeat across the worlds, and then quieted. The veil had healed. Elara had become eternal. And Lana, chosen, complete, stepped toward the light that would carry her home. The light was too bright to be seen, only felt. It rushed through the veil like wind through hollow stone, carrying whispers, memories, and the pulse of every star that had ever lived. Aiden fought against it, claws digging into the shimmering ground, as the veil's current pushed him backward. "No!" he roared. "Not again! I won't leave her!" But the voice that answered wasn't Elara's this time. It was the veil itself, vast and ancient, speaking through every echo. "You were never meant to stay, Wolf of the Dawn. Your path lies where the howl is heard. Return and prepare the pack." Aiden's chest heaved. "She needs me. She needs you waiting. You have proved that you are the true alpha she needs by her side." The ground split beneath his feet, light swallowing him whole. His last sight was of Lana, surrounded by blinding radiance, her arms outstretched, her mark burning like a sun as the veil folded inward around her. Then, silence, cold air, and the scent of pine and earth. Aiden stumbled forward, landing on solid soil. The world was different. He stood at the edge of the Silver Ridge, his homeland, but it was no longer the same blood-soaked battlefield he remembered. The air was cleaner, calmer. The moon overhead was whole. Behind him, the veil shimmered faintly for a heartbeat, then sealed shut, leaving only starlight, where a gateway once stood. He sank to his knees, breath ragged. Elara's voice, faint but firm, echoed inside his thoughts. "Go home, Aiden. Gather them. When the time is right, the Luna will return." He bowed his head, grief and awe warring in his chest. "Then I'll wait," he whispered, "however long it takes." Days became weeks. The packs began to stir. The call of the moon had changed, deeper and clearer than before. Wolves who once turned away from its light now felt it draw them close. And Aiden, he became their anchor. He led the rebuilding of their lands, stopped old feuds, united the broken houses. When they asked where their Luna was, he simply said, "She walks the path of the moon. When balance is restored, she will return." The wolves believed him, because when he spoke, the mark on his wrist glowed faintly silver. Then, one night, beneath the full moon's silence, the air shifted. The forest grew still. Every wolf lifted its head as a strange wind swept through the valley, carrying the scent of rain and moonlight. Aiden froze. His pulse quickened. And then, she stepped through. Lana, clad in silver light and shadow both, her hair flowing like liquid starlight, her eyes glowing with the calm of galaxies. Around her, the air shimmered. The veil itself had opened only wide enough to let her pass. Every wolf in the clearing fell to its knees. Even the alphas bowed their heads. Aiden couldn't move at first, couldn't breathe. He'd dreamed this moment so many times, but nothing had prepared him for the truth of her. She smiled faintly when she saw him. "You waited." He managed a breath. "I said I would." The moonlight flared brighter, blessing the land. The wolves howled, their voices rising as one, the sound carrying across mountains and rivers. And in that moment, the world changed. The veil no longer hung between realms as a wall. It existed now as a bridge, breathing through her. Magic flowed freely again. The wolves' power returned, but it was tempered with peace, dignity, and purpose. Lana turned to face them all, her voice strong and resonant. "No more fighting for dominance. No more bleeding for pride. We are children of the same moon. We are bound not by fear, but by balance." The crowd howled in answer, a single note of unity that shook the stars. Then she looked back at Aiden, eyes softening. "The prophecy spoke of peace," she said quietly, "but it forgot to mention love." He smiled, the first real smile in months. "Then let's add that to it." The moons above flared, forming a single, perfect circle, a sign the heavens themselves had accepted the new age. And as the packs howled under her light, Lana of the Veil, Luna of the Moonbound, stood beside her mate. Her power no longer something she bore alone, but something shared, lived, and believed. The age of chaos was over, the balance restored, and in the calm after centuries of shadow, the world finally bowed to the light of its Luna. The new moon rose whole for the first time in centuries. Its light washed across the valley, spilling silver over the stone terraces of the rebuilt camp. Wolves lay scattered beneath it in quiet reverence, their fur shining like metal threads. Lana stood at the center of it all, her mark pulsing faintly. Beside her, Aiden's arm brushed hers, the steady warmth that kept her human when the moon's pull grew too strong. She turned her face to the sky. "Do you feel that?" He nodded. "She's close." A hush rolled through the clearing. The air shimmered. A column of pale light touched the ground before them, and from it stepped a figure made of mist and memory. Silver eyes, hair like falling ash. Elara. For a heartbeat, the world forgot to breathe. Aiden bowed his head. "You kept your promise." Alara's smile was faint but alive. "And you kept yours. The veil is whole, the packs are united, and the balance holds." She looked to Lana. "But the bridge must always stand watch. Peace is not a crown, Luna. It's a path you must keep walking." Lana reached out, her hand passing through Alara's shimmering form. "Will you stay?" "For a time," the seer said. "The veil no longer binds me as it did. When harmony reigns, I may take shape. When chaos stirs, I will return to the light." Aiden's brow furrowed. "You still see the shadows coming?" Alara's gaze drifted toward the horizon. "There will always be shadows. But they are softer now, tamed by understanding. Your people will hold if they remember what brought them here." Lana stepped closer, her voice gentle. Then help me remind them. The seer tilted her head. How? By walking with us tonight. As you are. Elara smiled, and for the first time since she became part of the veil, she grew solid. Moonlight condensed around her bones, giving her a body not of flesh, but of living radiance. The wolves gasped and lowered their heads. Together the three walked to the ceremonial fire. Lana's silver aura met Elara's soft glow. Aiden's darker flame steadied them both. The light swirled above, weaving into a symbol. The eternal circle, half shadow, half light. Elara spoke first. From this day, no realm stands alone. Lana added, no heart stands above another. And Aiden's voice, deep and sure, completed it. No wolf stands without purpose. The circle of light rose into the sky, imprinting itself upon the moon. Every creature watching knew the words would outlive them, an oath written in the heavens. Elara looked at her two companions. Then my task is done. Stay, Lana whispered. Elara touched her shoulder, the gesture both motherly and divine. I will always be here, child of the moon, within the wind that fills your lungs, within the silence between your heartbeats. The bridge stands strong. Her body dissolved into the air, scattering like silver dust that clung to their skin. The wind that followed was warm, not cold. The wolves lifted their heads and howled, not in mourning, but in gratitude. Lana turned to Aiden. Do you think she hears us? He smiled. Always. And as the howl echoed into the night, the moon shone brighter, its single flawless face bearing the faint shimmer of a third light, watching, listening, and forever keeping balance. The circle was complete,